So I counted it up, and over the course of the week, I think we did 5 different menus. It was insane, but that was the model that the industry is or has traditionally been based on. The restaurant isn't, we're not a certified organic restaurant. What's important to me is sustainability, and that the produce is grown in a regenerative, sustainable fashion as much as possible. So I like to work as directly as possible with farmers, growers and producers, and as much as we can within a few miles of the restaurant. I'm not totally dogmatic about it, but one of the joys is speaking directly to suppliers and farmers and seeing what is seasonal and what is coming out of the ground, and thinking about how we can best represent it on the plate within the menu.
That was ripe. They will just continue to ripen, but we need to get them in, indoors, properly indoors where they're warm.
So we can move very, very quickly in the kitchen, and if I speak to Pete at Co-Farm, for example, on a Monday, we can have a new dish on the menu by Tuesday evening. And literally being able to drive to the farm and fill the boot with produce and then bring that straight back to the restaurant, and just removing as many links in that chain as we possibly can. So we're literally going from field to fork. I don't think people want a side of sort of sanctimoniousness with their main course, and if people want to hear the story, then we're happy to tell the story to them when we're talking about the food. And if people ask questions, we're happy to talk about our suppliers and the relationship that we have with them. But I think more than anything, people just want to be well fed, and my goal from the consumer's perspective, from the diner's perspective, is that they feel relaxed and comfortable, and I want them as much as possible to feel like they're coming round to a friend's house for dinner. The Hole in the Wall is it's a sort of 450, 500-year-old country pub with all the traditions that people expect from a village pub. And I knew being a chef and being a restaurant owner was tough, and that was when I really felt like I earned my stripes there. That was 6 years of incredibly hard graft, and it wasn't unusual for me to be working 90, 100 hours a week, doing 10 services, and I was actually in the kitchen for most of them as well. There's nothing like the pressure of having your own business to make you work hard and knowing that you have to get people through the door. It was only when I closed the restaurant that I was able to sort of look back and fully realise how mad the whole system was, and how unsustainable it was, and how antiquated it was. I had to work out where the variables were and the issue with those variables, and then how to strip those out, because that's where the nuance was. That's where the difference between profit and loss was, and sanity and madness.
There we go, this is the other mustard, the one you've been having, the lovely purple one. It's not quite as...
It's not quite as assertive, is it?
No.
I would be more than happy to just let those guys grow what they want, and we will take it and we will make something delicious from it. But Pete's also incredibly responsive as well, and he will say to me, what would you like me to grow?
You've got cocotte soon?
A few. That is because one of our longest, I say longest serving, just, but you know what I mean. One of our volunteers who's been here from the very, very beginning is from Catalonia, and they eat calçots there. If it's not crops, then we will be putting cover crops in, so green manures, etc., that again hold the soil together, outcompete weeds, and in some cases, like legumes, like vetches and things that we've just sown a load of about a month ago. They'll be fixing atmospheric nitrogen in the soil in a form
that next year's crop,
exactly.
Whatever it is,
So
it goes in there,
yeah.
much healthier, much more sustainable. These are gorgeous. Is that risotto?
No, it's Castelfranco.
Castelfranco.
So that when it gets colder weather, it will go yellow.
Yes.
To fine. We'll have to have a chat over the winter about things that we could grow next year.
Yeah.
You know, a wish list basically.
A wish list would be
because
great.
there'll be some fun things that I've not grown before, or some fun things that you might want that we can grow here, etc. So yeah, we should do that.
Hello.
Went to university, studied initially archaeology, and then I did 2 years of politics and political science. And then finished university, moved to London, just with absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was 21, 22, and just didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I felt a little bit directionless. And I had this degree, but not a clue what to do with it. So I thought, okay, I should probably try and get a job in politics. So I went for a job with an MP. And it was no more than 5 or 10 minutes into the job interview, he stopped what he was doing and he stopped asking me questions, and he sort of leant forward in his chair and said, "You don't really want this job, do you?" I was like, "Actually, Nick, I don't think I do." And then from then on, we had a lovely chat. We had a chat about ambition and life and doing what you really wanted. He said, my advice to you is figure out what it is that you enjoy doing and then find a way to make a career of it. So from that point on, I was like, yeah, I think food is my thing.
A really famous dish of sorrel in a butter sauce with trout or salmon. But it's great with fish.
Oh, it's nice.
So the variables for me at the pub were always how many people are going to come through the door, what are they going to order, and how much they're going to spend. So in order to ensure that the restaurant is fully booked, I've worked with a bookings platform called Tok, which treats the restaurant experience much more like going to the theatre. It's much more experiential, it's much more like buying a ticket for something. The second one was, what are people going to order? So we removed any idea of an a la carte menu. So we do a completely fixed menu. Everybody in the restaurant has exactly the same thing. That allows us to purchase properly, it allows us to prep properly, and it massively reduces our food waste. And thirdly, we remove the unknown variable of what people are going to spend by having a fixed price. We have optional drinks flights. We do an alcoholic drinks flight or a soft drinks flight. We do have a wine list, but we don't have an enormous wine list because 60-70% of people are happy to drink what we think is best to drink with the dishes. Well, I just thought they were. I think there is. Oh yes, I think there is some relation. Yeah. That croissant was insane. I had to place my fish order on a Thursday night for delivery on Friday, so I had to guess on 11:30 on a Thursday how much fish I was going to sell over those 5 services of the week. And the whole thing just seemed absolutely insane to me. There was a point at which I knew it was not sustainable, and it wasn't sustainable for me, and it wasn't a sustainable business in terms of my mental well-being, even my physical health took a toll. And after sort of 5-6 years of slogging away and barely breaking even every month, I was sat in the car park of an industrial estate at the Cash and Carry. I thought, what on earth am I doing with my life? This is a Saturday afternoon. Previously, I'd be at the football with my dad, or I'd be walking around Cambridge with my wife, or taking the dog for a walk, or doing something, you know, wholesome and fun. And instead, I was in the car park of an industrial estate. And I think that's as close as I got to having a breakdown, and really burning out and recognising those signs of being totally physically just exhausted. Having already worked 80 hours that week, and knowing that there was still the 2 biggest services of the week still to go. So that was the point at which I said to myself, that's it. And knowing that there was still about a year left on my lease at that point, but I knew that I would not be extending it, and I wouldn't be seeking anything else other than to close the pub. That experience is what has formed the foundation of Vanderlyle. At the moment, we don't work on Saturdays, so we operate Tuesday to Friday. And in hospitality, I think one of the reasons that people fall out of love with the industry is because there is an expectation that they will give up their weekends, and they will work Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday as well. It doesn't matter if it's a Monday or a Saturday. The experience is the same, and we're fortunate enough at the moment, we're fortunate enough to be fully booked whenever we open, whichever those 4 services are. So looking at the business from a completely different direction enabled me to make these massively significant changes, both for the restaurant and the team, and certainly for me.